Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel. In this short video we're going to discuss events that took place during the previous 10 hours, and we are going to discuss the Russian defense lines in the Zaporozhye area one more time. If we take a look at the Russian sources map, we see that there are a few icons, fire icons above Slavyansk, Kramatorsk and Konstantinovka agglomeration. The Ukrainian sources published that during the previous night of the local time, the Russians managed to deal a lot of missiles and rocket attacks in these towns. As a result of those attacks, the Russians were trying to get the Ukrainian ammo depots, accumulation collections of forces for by the, let's say, 8 a.m. of the local time. There are still no updates about the results of those attacks, but I believe that during the day the Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation will provide us more information. The Russians are saying that as a result of clashes inside of the western and central part of Bakhmut, they managed to destroy a group of militants of the special Nazi forces of Ukrainians, Da Vinci Wolves. There was 5 soldiers with very well trained and special forces of Ukraine that were doing the most interesting, the most special operations all over the entire Ukraine. And that's it about the short updates during the previous 10 hours. And now let's return back to the Russian defense line in Zaporozhye. Just a few things to discuss. As you can see, according to this map, the most fortified area of the Russian defense line is Zaporozhye area, and there are at least 3 lines of defense, and very interesting line that connects Melitopol and Tokmak, this one, vertical one. So this vertical line changed the entire picture and the entire understanding of the situation in Zaporozhye and Kherson district. Now let's return back to the Western source map just to add those lines and to understand to have better picture of what the Russians are going to do in this area. So the first line goes through Vasilievki to Pologi and a little bit to the north. And the second line goes through Malinovka, Tokmak, and in the parallel mode almost the same direction. And the last line is between Tokmak and Melitopol. So this is the global scope of the Russian defense area and the Russian defense tactic in this area. So one more time, the first line, the north one, the central line, and the line between Tokmak and Melitopol. Furthermore, as you can see, according to this map, Mikhailovka, Tokmak, and Pologi itself have already created into some kind of separate defense areas completely encircled with defense lines. So Tokmak, Mikhailovka, and Pologi is separate defense areas. But this is not the most important part. The most important defense line is the line that connects Tokmak and Melitopol, this one. And to tell the truth, it's very difficult to imagine the offensive operation from the Ukrainian side that will require the Russians to use this defense line. And the only possible solution when this line can help the Russians only in case if the Ukrainians at some points of special military operation decide to attack the Russians in this direction. So as you can see, according to this piece of information, we understand that the Russians they do understand, and they understand that there are some chances. It's highly unlikely, to tell the truth, from my opinion. But anyway, when talking about the Russians, they have calculated and estimate everything, and according to their understanding of the upcoming Ukrainian counter-offensive operation, they prepared this defense line, and they understand that there are very high chances that Ukrainians are able to penetrate the Russian defense order somewhere in the area between Gulyai-Polye and Orekhov, and after that, of course, if the Ukrainians in direction of Berdyansk and Mariupol. And if the Ukrainians want, according to the United States of America plans, to get the border or the outskirts of Crimea, after that they need to turn to the west and to attack the Russians between Tokmak and Melitopol to encircle this area and so on. So this was the reason why the Russians have prepared this defense line. And as we understand, according to these maps, according to these plans, as we understand, there is a very high chances that maybe it is possible, at least at the first stages of Ukrainian counter-offensive operation, until they lose all their manpower, all their warehouses, their stocks. After that, of course, the Russians will launch their own counter-offensive operation. But this is the original plan, and this is the structure. And when talking about this defense line, this is a very perfect position for the Russians. There is a sea from the south, there is a river, there is 3 towns, and as you can see, according to this configuration, the Russians are planning to base their defense between 3 towns: Mikhailovka, Tokmak and Melitopol, between this triangle. So this is the base and this is the area they're trying and they will try to hold as long as possible during the Ukrainian counter-offensive operation. But there is just one weak point in this defense operation, is that as soon as the Ukrainians are able to penetrate the southern part of Ukraine, they will be able to use their missiles and their rockets to attack Crimea Bridge. And this entire plan that we discussed, the Russian entire plan to hold the north part, the Kherson area and the north part of Crimea, is based on that fact that they do have supply and support of Crimea from the mainland using the Crimea Bridge, using the naval ships, using the cargo ships and so on. But this plan will be completely ruined if the Ukrainians are able to destroy this bridge. And as we discussed yesterday, the Ukrainians tested their Thunder II Grom for the second time, and the distance of that rocket range of that rocket is more than 400 kilometers. So I believe that the Ukrainians are going to use these rockets exactly for this plan of attack of their offensive operation in direction of Crimea. And that's it for today. Military Summer channel reminds you condemn any violence in Ukraine. Thank you for your watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day and happy Easter.